Hello and welcome to Find Your Freedom, a podcast dedicated to helping you truly find freedom in all aspects of life. Join your hosts and their expert guests as they share practical tips and strategies for finding more freedom in your life. It's time to take control of your life and create the future you want. Let's find your freedom. Here are your hosts, Lenny the Boss and Omid Rad Investor.
Boom, we are back with another episode of Find Your Freedom. And before we get into this episode, we want to let you know that this episode is being sponsored by Wealth Builders Mortgage Group. So if you are interested in getting a mortgage for your long-term rental, for your short-term rental, even for your personal home, I'm telling you, contact Wealth Builders Group. They help me with all of my short-term rentals. They help Omid with all of his. So this is people that we use and not anyone else. So contact Parker's team. Anyone on Parker's team can definitely help you out. So let me tell you, I'm gonna tell you like this, right? You know, you want to get ready and you want to really tune in into this episode, all right? Because I know some of you think just, hey, I'm this regular person with this 9 to 5. How can I jump into real estate? Well, I'm here to tell you that you can. All right. And our next guest, which we don't have guests, we have friends, is going to sit here and explain that. Okay. She was an exchange student, right? Came here, got a degree, nursing. She's currently been in the nursing field for over 19 years. All right. But one of the things that she did was she said, you know what? I got to start investing in myself. So she decided to invest in some masterminds, joining some groups, and then she took the jump. She took the jump. She purchased a long-term rental first, and then she purchased a short-term rental after that. And I'm going to stop there. I'm going to sit here and let her tell the rest of the story. So Mia, how are you doing? How are you? Mama Mia. I should sit there and say.
Doing
Mama
great,
Mia.
Lenny. Doing great, Lenny and Omid. Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Awesome. So we met in San Diego. We're sitting there at an event. Once again, learning. Two things to an event. You learn and you meet a whole bunch of people. And I actually met you last day. All of us starting to head out. We're probably shouldn't be saying this. We're at the bar, sitting there, and you looked at me, I looked at you, and we just start talking and found out that we had a lot in common. And I said, man, we gotta have you on. So with that being said, if you could, for the audience, please tell a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, so my name is Mia Kurbalija, and I came from Serbia in 1999 as an exchange student and decided to stay. And then I got into business degree because I didn't know what to study. I don't know why they think that people at 18 should know what to do in life. Like, we don't have a clue. But I was like, oh, business, that sounds cool. But then 2 years later, I met a girl who was a nurse who's also from Serbia. And she told me all these wonderful things about nursing in US. And one of them, I'm not going to lie, was you get a green card. And I was like, okay, I need one of those. Let me go switch my major. So I did that and became a nurse. I did a little bit of a longer route because it was cheaper because, they charge us a lot as being international students. So I did an associate's degree, got that. And then I did NICU. So I work with neonates, which was wonderful. So I actually figured that I love being a nurse. And so I did that, then moved to Houston and did a little NICU for a couple of more years. And then I switched to cardiovascular intensive care for pediatrics. And while I was there, I decided to do master's, but for all wrong reasons. I wanted to make more money. And so I was doing my master's and it was a disaster. I hated it. The degree hated me. Everything was just awful. And I have a friend and a coworker. Her name is Melissa Yu, and she was kind of in a similar situation. So we were talking, and she's like, so why are you doing this? And I said, well, I want to make more money. And she's like, me too, but there's got to be another way. And I was like, I know. I was like, what is it? And she goes, well, there's this thing called real estate investing. I was like, no, that's for Trump and, big people like that. She's like, no, we can do that. So she actually joins a program in Houston and through them, they teach you how to do long-term rentals or multifamily. So she already started it and was like, she was doing it for maybe like a year or two, her and her husband. And so she actually was really good. She didn't want to tell me what to do. She said, listen to Bigger Pockets. That was homework number one. And then homework number two was go to a free event that was like 2 hours with that organization. And I did that and I loved it. So I did their 2 day, which they teach you like they don't teach you everything, but like they introduce you to it. And I was like, wait, this sounds amazing. And so basically the way they teach it is you do hard money loans and then you refinance. But their whole strategy is long-term rentals. So I did that route and I joined it in January of 2019. In March, I bought 2 houses, which everybody said, you are insane. Do not do 2 houses at once. And I was like, what? No, I can do it. And like, I hired a contractor on one, and then I actually contracted the other house myself. Like I was the GC on it. And yeah, people thought I was insane. I couldn't even tell my parents because I knew they were think like, no, you're going to lose all your money. But yeah, it turned out to be the best thing ever.
Awesome.
So, okay, so this is what I'm hearing. You come to the States, you're studying, you're like, hey, there's a better life out here. I'm gonna find a way to stay here and be like very productive person in the States. And so you kind of went the route of nursing, but then as you're pursuing it further, you're like, hey, there's other things available out there. So maybe like talk us through that, because I think a lot of times people will think about maybe like some other idea, but they never actually act on it. So what got you to actually decide, hey, I'm gonna talk to my coworker, or I'm gonna go to this event? So like, what made you like kind of take that first step? Because I think sometimes the first step is the hardest step.
Yeah, I agree. I think in my case, I was actually telling this to somebody at a conference, either San Diego or in Austin. I was in Austin last weekend, and I'll talk about that later. But I said how I don't usually like plan things in my life. I feel like a lot of it just kind of like falls into a place almost, and it just works out. But obviously not magically, right? Like I have to make the step. So I think what happened is I was at that moment very determined that like I don't want to stay where I'm at. Like I was actually doing bedside nursing and research together because it's for the same department. And I was like, I love being a nurse, but it's tiring. And I was like, I don't want to do this for another 20 years, like doing bedside. And I don't know, I just always had this vision in my head of like me doing something bigger. I never knew what exactly it was. Like some people are born and they know what they want to do. Like I had no idea. But I knew I wanted something different. And then when she mentioned that, and then when I went to to the mentorship, which I have to say one thing, I truly believe that mentorship is the best way. Can we do this on our own? Yes. I know people have done it, but it's way harder, I think, because I would have never felt the guts if I had to do it on my own. And I probably would have screwed up. But because I joined the program and they were there holding my hand, telling me what to do, I didn't screw up. Like, were there things happening? Yeah, like one of the houses, when we did the inspection, there was a bullet on the roof. And somebody would have been like, what? No. But I was like, yes, let's go in it. And I think it's because I was listening to Bigger Pockets. And I think when you hear people tell their stories and then things happen to you, you're like, okay, this is cool. This is normal. Like, this is just part of it, right? Like, nothing is perfect. So I think it comes from within, and I don't know exactly what it is. I think it's just like, for me,
So
it's a feeling and intuition. That's all I have to say. Like, I don't know.
I'm going to interrupt you a little bit, because this is what I think. I think you're an action taker. So maybe it wasn't like planned, a part of a master plan, but it was just like, there's an opportunity and you're an action taker. Like you came to the States, you got your degree, you attempted to do your master's program, but you're constantly trying, just different things as you're continuing to educate yourself.
Yeah.
But I like the point you made about like mentorship, and I forgot who uses this quote, but like success loves speed.
Yep.
So it helps kind of accelerate your ability to learn that skill and then kind of act on it. So yeah, I think that's super
Yeah,
cool.
definitely.
Absolutely. So it's a couple of things. First and foremost, I like that you told me to call you Mama Mia, and I think that that's so cool, right? So you tag with that with me for the rest of life. So every time I see, I'm gonna call you from the other side of the room, Mama Mia. But hey man, I really love everything that you're saying, right? Because you can relate to so many people. At the end of the day, everybody's career driven and you got a career, you a career in nursing, right? So people that's in nursing or any career driven job always sit here and say, man, there gotta be something else at the end, right? And you sat here and decided to, pivot just a little bit because you're still doing nursing, right?
Yeah, I'm still
You
working,
still
but I do
right.
research. Yeah.
Awesome. And I want the audience to know that you don't have to sit here and call it quits. You can sit here and start your journey while you're in your career. Like that's the
Yeah.
best way to doing it. And you mentioned you started off by one getting mentorship, right? I know Omid always mentioned, and you probably can finish this line for me, is he liked the cliff notes, right?
Yes.
He liked the cliff notes. Everybody been through, all the issues and the problems. And if you want the elevator, up to the top floor versus taking the stairs, then that mentorship, that listening to the podcast like Bigger Pockets and Now Find Your Freedom, will sit here and help you get there. So, one of the things that I do want to ask is obviously you took action, like Omid mentioned, and you purchased some properties. You said you purchased two at the same time, which is pretty cool. Using hard money, and I want to get into the hard money thing, but where did you purchase your very first property? Was it somewhere close in your backyard? Was it states over? Can you tell us just a little bit about that?
Yeah. So I am thankful and lucky that I live in a good market. So I'm in Houston, Texas. So I actually purchased like those two in March of 19 and then the third one in like October of 19. And they were all in Houston, like different parts of Houston, but in Houston.
So how did you, I guess with regards to that, how did you leverage hard money? And like maybe can explain that business model so that like the listeners can kind of understand like how
Yeah.
it works?
Yeah.
And
So
I guess before you even go into it, can you just to add to Omi's question, can you to let us know what hard money is for those who don't know?
yeah, absolutely. So hard money, for those who don't know, it's basically like they're institutional lenders, but what they do is they help you purchase for how much the house is, and then they give you part of, I don't want to say 100%, but because nobody gives you 100%, but they do cover quite a lot of your remodel. So the way that the hard money lenders that I work with, what they do is when you're getting a house, they'll come with the appraiser and the appraiser will say, if like you will give them a list of things you're going to do to the house. Like in this case, they wanted a general contractor bid that you give to them and you say, I'll do the kitchen, I'll do the bathroom, I'll do the floors, da 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 da. And then at the end of it, they'll say, okay, if you do all these things, the house will be worth this much, and we're going to give you 75% of that. So they give you 75% of ARV, which is the after repair value for those who don't know. And so in my case, my out of pockets were much less than if I was just taking that house, buying it through the bank, giving 20% down, plus giving money to remodel, and then like doing some kind of cash out refi. So this way I was spending way less money out of pocket. Like one of my properties, I spent $10,000 out of pocket at the end of it. So it's a $250,000 house. Like at the time, it was valued at $250,000. So like that's a great deal. Like you're buying a $250,000 house for 10,000. Like that's amazing.
Do you mind sharing the numbers on that property? Kind of, what the initial price of the
Yeah,
property was, and then the rehab and kind of go through that.
yeah. That property I still own, and it's my favorite property in the world. I love it. It's like a great neighborhood with great schools. It was just amazing. So the property was purchased from the wholesaler. and I believe they actually locked it at 140. It was a pre-foreclosure, and I'm a research nurse, so I did a lot of digging to find out who this person is and why did it. Uh, and so they locked it at 140. They sold it to me for 160. And then my remodel was, the GC bid was 30,000, but thanks to the people in the program and the contacts, they were like, look, this is really easy. You can do this on your own. I'll give you a person who can help you. And so there was a guy who basically painted everything. And then I found the floor people, I found the kitchen people. So that was the part of me. But it was like I call it easy. Some people would be like, oh, this is hard. But I thought it was easy because it wasn't like too much work. So what I did with that one, instead of 30, it was 20,000 to remodel. And on that particular property, I decided, because it was really quick, I locked it in, like, let's say April 1st. I refinanced it May 1st. So I was in it for 30 days. Like, I did remodel, I did all of it within 30 days. So this was like really,
Wow.
really fast. And so what I
Awesome.
decided, because with hard money lenders, for those who don't know, when you're remodeling, they make you do draws. And if you need like $50,000 to remodel, they make you do either 3 draws, or everybody's different, but a
Mhm.
lot of them do like 3 sets. So you have to do third part of the work, and then you
Yep.
call them in, and then you have to pay them to come out, like $400, $300, I don't know, everybody's different. So I was like, I want to pay them. So I actually did pay out of pocket, but I put it on a credit card. I didn't want to use my cash, so I put it on a credit card because I knew it was going to be fast. And I spent $20,000. And then after a month, I refinanced it, pulled everything out. So my out of pocket of 10,000 really was closing costs. Like, I didn't even really pay any remodeling or anything like that.
Can you pull this story back real quick? And maybe
Yeah.
you can jump right on in if need be. But all right, so just to be clear, the house itself was being sold from a wholesaler for $140,000,
Well,
right?
160 to me.
I'm sorry, 160 to you,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. Mhm.
And then you used a credit card and not hard money to sit here and, like, did you use the credit card to, like, how did you actually pay the contractor? I mean, I know using a credit card you can buy material with no problem, but how did you pay the contractor?
Well, so the contractor, like, I would buy his material, and then I would pay him like, and same thing. I didn't pay him all at once. So I was paying him in like increments, and he knew what I was doing because he knows
Good.
the way it
That's
works.
good. Yep.
So like, I gave him half the money. Well, no, first I gave him like the third of money for him. And
Okay.
then like throughout, I gave him another payment. So actually it wasn't like, I'm trying to think how, because it was like 5 years ago. I'm trying to think how much money like him himself was charging me, but it wasn't like a whole lot for like, hands type thing.
Okay.
It was like a couple of thousands. So I was do that. And then he knew that I'm refinancing. So he waited for me to get the money back and then paid him there. Yeah.
Oh,
So
okay.
I feel like a lot of it is finding people who know what we're doing and how this works, and to trust the process. Like, I'm not going to leave you hanging. I'm going to pay you, but this is why I'm doing it. So this particular guy, he knew like
Wow.
why we do what we do. Yeah.
Awesome.
And then the tile guy, I was able to pay him with the credit card,
Oh, okay.
and the floor people. So the only person I was paying like from the bank account, like with cash, was this one guy who's doing all the painting and changing doorknobs, and I think there was like a
Okay.
broken glass or something. Yeah.
Awesome.
That's great. So just to kind of close out the story, so you
Yeah.
purchased for 150. So what is the ARV at this point now?
Right now,
Yeah.
it's I think when I checked it last time, it was like 350. So at the
350. So
time it was 250. Yeah.
Sheesh.
so you
Yeah.
almost like already doubled the property value.
Oh yeah.
So I just want to kind of highlight that, like, just you take the opportunity, you learn through the process. You then, with the power of time, it essentially rents go up, value goes up, and you didn't really have to put money into the property. So now you own a property, and it's probably cash flowing at this point, and
Oh yeah.
and it's part of your assets, and you're building your your net worth. So super awesome. Like, that's a great story. And I know that's just like the first one. So I know you eventually like start going into like other groups. So like what inspired you, or when do you decide, hey, I'm gonna try something different and go to like a different niche? Like what prompts you to do that, as you're, let's say you're doing, the long-term rentals, and you're doing almost like the BRRRR method.
Yeah.
So yeah, how do you decide, hey, I'm gonna try something different and go for, like a different part of real estate?
Yeah. So, like after buying those three houses in 19, COVID hit, and I just kind of like stopped with thinking like, what's my next? Because my process was supposed to be like get these houses and then like sell them in a couple of years and do multifamily. But then during COVID, we all had a lot of time, so we listened to even more like podcasts. So I came across the whole Airbnb short-term rental. And I think it was actually another friend from work who mentioned that they used short-term shop, Avery Carl, and they were like really happy with it. And then I mentioned this to my boyfriend, and he's like, "Well, that sounds actually intriguing. Like, we can do that together." And I was like, "Yeah, okay." Like, I just wanted to like do it. I was so like, you get long-term rentals, you get work at the beginning, and then it's like, you sit on your butt and do nothing. And I actually manage my own, but like, there's not a whole lot of managing to do. Like, evict somebody maybe here and there, or you have to fix things, but like I don't go fix it. I just pick up a phone, call somebody, and they fix it. So my boyfriend and I started looking, but by the time we like put all the ducks together, it was like end of 21, beginning of 22. So, things already started to shift a little bit. Rates started to slowly creep up, but we found the deal in January. But by the time we like locked it all in and closed, like it took forever. So originally we were supposed to put 15% down, but by the time we like finished it, it was 20% down. And now the rate is different. Like everything was different. So I was very determined, like, we're gonna do this, we can do this, I'm gonna manage it. And it was in Florida, like it wasn't even here. So like I was long distance, but I was very like, I felt very courageous to do it because other people were doing it. I'm like, if they can do it, I can do it. And so we get a property in Santa Rosa Beach down on 38. I don't know if you're familiar with that area. It's
Yep.
gorgeous.
Yep.
And like, I don't want to say everything went wrong, but it was just a wrong time. We bought it for, the price was higher than what it should be, what should have been. The rate was higher. So we started working. June 6th is when I listed it on Airbnb. June 10th was our first guest. And so
Nice.
I was like, yes, like this is working. This is awesome. And at that point, I'm following Tony and Sarah. So like I'm getting, tips from them. And I'm like, oh, we should have like done a redesign, but okay, whatever. Because it's a turnkey. Like
Yeah.
that's another thing. Like there's just things that I learned in that particular deal that I would never do again. Like if you're going to buy turnkey, you make sure your numbers are like on the point. So we did that summer and it was good. Like I thought it was good, but then there's like dead, nothing. September through like March, you get zero bookings because you're new and it's a big house. It was a 5-bedroom house. Like in the winter, people who go to Florida are like older people, like not a big families are going to come in the middle of September, October, to come on vacation. So long story short, my boyfriend was like, look, I think we need to sell this. And I was like, no, we still good. We have equity. We have like, I was just so like, I so
Yeah.
wanted to be in it. And that's what I wanted audience to also like hear and always keep in mind. Like, don't go with your emotion. Like that was first property that I went with emotion instead of numbers. And that was my huge mistake. Thankfully, it worked out and I'll tell you why. So even though March comes, I did a little bit of redesign. I started looking at my enemies, so to speak, what they're doing, how they're doing it. And I found a property that I kind of like, looked up to. and they had like these colorful bikes and these supboards, and I was like, oh, we're gonna do that. So we got those. I redid the photos, and it was actually really, really cool like that we did that, because as soon as I put those pictures, the bookings started coming like crazy. So I was like,
Nice.
that's it, I got it. But we were still not like cash flowing. And my boyfriend's like, okay, I'm putting my foot down. This is it. We're selling it. And I was like, no. And so we put it on the market. But it was like in May that we put it on the market, and now it's summer. Like, how are people going to see the house? But I'm like, somebody will buy the house. Well, September, October, like people are coming. They see the house, they love the house, but nobody's buying it because it's 23. Like rates are way higher. And
Mm-hmm.
so because of that property, that led me to start digging and researching. And I went to Tony Acera Summit in Austin last year. That's actually where I met Omid first time. And that summit was amazing. I met a bunch of people. And that's where I started getting ideas. And there I meet Amy Majuri, who does Raising Private Money. And I was like, I don't know what she does, but she's awesome. And I just want to be around her. So I actually joined her program. And in that program, there's so many creative people doing all kinds of creative things that I hear about sub 2. And I wheels started turning in my head. I'm like, what if I find a buyer through sub 2 for our house, So that way, like, we don't have to be responsible for it anymore. And then I presented to my boyfriend. He's like, I don't know. That sounds really fishy to me. And I didn't know, like, I didn't have enough knowledge to, like, be comfortable to, tell him, like, no, it's all legal. And like, so I go to Raising Private Money conference in November, and there was a lot of sub 2 from Pace Morby's program people.
Yep.
And I meet them, and they kind of explain to me better how it works. And then I decide to actually reach out to a person who does this. And like, she puts people together. And so I did that. It was Ziona McIntyre, for anybody who knows who she is.
Good friend to the platform.
Yeah,
Hey,
Ziona is awesome. So she helped us out. And I told her, I said, this is very specific. She's like, oh yeah, I know. But my point of this story is that it takes a mistake, and then it takes you to try to find a solution. And what I realized, my motto, how you say it? Motto? Yeah. Motto in life is there's a solution for everything. I don't believe that things are not solved. Everything, there's a solution for everything. You just have to find it. So that's my like whole thing with that, is that it took, and not to say that the house was a mistake. It was a mistake for us at that moment. Like, somebody else who is now running it probably could be killing it, but also they bought it because they needed tax advantage. And that's another thing that I've learned through the process, is people sometimes don't buy for cash flow. They buy for tax purposes. So this particular person bought it because they make a lot of money, and they wanted to do cost segregation study and to depreciate it off their income. And so I was like, I knew there was a person for that. So, and it was. So that's the thing. There's a solution for everything. You can always figure it out. And so we sold it in December, and now I can sleep. I'm kidding.
No, you're right. Where I'm gonna tell you a quick story. So my son plays tackle football, and I was, at one of the games talking to another parent, and this parent, they had this company, which I still really don't know what he does, but he does something with construction, but he's not in construction, if that makes sense, right? And so we're talking, I'm telling him, hey, I'm a real estate investor. And he was like, yeah, I own some properties. He said, but I don't know what I'm making off the property. He said, quite frankly, I don't even care. So my eyes kind of blew up, like, who even talk like this, right? I'm like, he said, dude, all I know is I pay $80,000 a year in taxes, right, for his business. And his CPA told him that he need to buy some rental properties so he can filter some of his material through it. He like, dude, is saving me $60,000. He said, he said, I don't care what this property is doing. He said, we're probably losing. I don't even know if the tenants are paying or not. But you know what that told me? It told me when when somebody buys a property and you look at it and you say, why did they buy this property? It makes no sense. There's no money. No, it just makes no sense to you because the reason why you buy properties versus someone else buying the property is different. Just like you said, there's someone who bought the property because they needed to do a cost seg on the property, right? They probably was up against some, they probably had some 1031 money, right? And they needed to hurry up and buy something and do a quick cost seg to sit there and lower the taxes. So, that's pretty interesting. But there's a lot to learn off this deal that you have done. One, partnership, right? This is the first time you partnership on a property, right?
Yeah, huge lesson.
Well, let's talk about that. I know me knows a ton about partnerships. So, why don't you share some of the pros and the cons of partner up on a property?
I will say one reason not to partner is out of fear and like thinking I need somebody because I can't do this on my own. Like whatever reason would it be money? Would it be, I don't know, self-confidence? I don't even know. But like, I hear people do that. And I think in this case, like I partner because I always believe that like we would be a good team. And I still think we would, but just on something different. Like I think this particular partnership on this particular property was just not a good fit because in this case, we didn't set up the deal like, I'm going to do this, you're going to do that. These are your strengths. These are my, like, I just basically was like, I'm going to do everything. And that's a fault in like my personality. I just like to do everything. I just blame it on the fact that I'm a nurse and we just like to do things. But yeah, like, it's okay. I'll find a solution. I'll figure it out. But it's not good. Like all the pressure is on you, and frankly, like none of us can do things on our own. Like we need people. Like nobody's doing things on their own. Whatever you're doing, even if you are buying a house on your own, you're not, because bank or hard money, somebody's giving you money. So somebody's helping you there. You know what I mean? Like there's nothing doing it on your own. So my thing for partnership is set very clear lines on who's doing what. Like to me, that's like a number one. Next time, like I will have, like right now I'm partnering with people to do flips, and we're very clear on who's doing what and how we're like structuring the deal because of this experience. But my boyfriend and I are still together. We did not kill each other, even though I thought we will.
Yeah, I like the point you make about defining the roles, because I think sometimes that can get blurry, or even interpretation of that. And even like starting with the org chart, and these are the responsibilities. Are we agreeing these are all the responsibilities? Okay, this person falls under this responsibility and that responsibility. And that seems like to be like a great starting point. I want to kind of touch on the there's people that are in your position or have been in your position in wanting to I guess transition an asset. Let's say it's a short-term rental, and maybe you can like talk them through the numbers and how you were able to make it work. So like from a traditional standpoint, let's say you list it for $1 million, but then nobody's buying it, and maybe it's they're thinking the market says it's 900,000, but then through like a creative finance deal you can have it sold for $1 million with X terms. So like maybe like walk people through that, so that if somebody is interested in doing that in the future, like even like what resources look to, because I think that's like an area where a lot of people don't know.
Yeah. So I love the whole creative financing. It's like the more I learn about it, the more I'm in awe. But for our particular deal, what we wanted is not to lose money. That was our thing. We wanted to, like, our 20% down, we wanted to make sure we do not lose that, and preferably make a little bit extra on the equity. So that was like the deal that we made with the buyer. And I know people do all kinds of things, but I think it stems from what is it that the seller needs. So we needed not to lose money. Some people want to just get out because they need peace of mind and they don't necessarily care about money. Like I know a person who lost $50,000 on a deal and she was okay with that. And I was like, how are you okay with that? And she's like, that's what I need in this moment. And
Yep.
I think that when we are finding, like, if you want to buy a creative finance deal, I think one thing is like, don't think what is it that you want and focus on what is it that they want. What is it that they need? I guess need is more than want, because in most cases, it like the reason they're selling it that way is because they need something and you can provide it for them. So in our case, we did a 4-year balloon. So, it gives that person time to, like figure things out and to run that house and to then sell it, refinance. I don't know what they're going to do, but like it gives them time, but it also gives us the peace of mind that we did not lose the money. Now, of course, you can argue value of the money goes down. Yes, I agree, but I would rather have that money in 4 years than lose it now. You know what I mean? Like, to me, that made more sense. It's more almost like a savings account in a way. I mean, people keep money in bank accounts and they don't make any money. So, like, what's the difference? This way, it's sitting in the house.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
That's it. That's
Yeah.
it. And let's stay on this for a little bit because, it's funny because I didn't do creative financing on a property that I sold. Kind of the same deal you had, we were losing money left and right on the short-term rental. And I just wanted it gone because it was draining, right? And I didn't have no time to be trying to figure out something that I didn't know about, which I'm not too familiar with creative financing at that time when I had that property. So,
Yeah.
I lost well over just that deal itself. I had to pay $30,000 to get rid of it. Right. And not, adding in what I lost, which was probably over 70K, probably more than that. But let's just talk a little bit more about this creative financing because a lot of people, hear it,
Yeah.
and a lot of people don't really truly understand it. So can we just dive just a little bit deeper into your deal? So we just use your deal as an example into how that was totally structured.
Yeah. So the way it was structured is the buyer was buying it. Do you want like the actual? We can do numbers.
Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah. So the buyer was buying it for 1.35
Okay.
and we bought it for 1.25. So somebody would be like, oh, you're making 100,000. Well, not really. You're not making anything because of like all these costs that you had in the meantime. So you're really just breaking even at the end of the day. And then, the fact that it's a 4 years. So then for 4 years, so 4-year balloon means that within 4 years or at the 4-year mark, they need to either sell it or refinance so that they can give us our equity part, which is basically what our down payment was and that $100,000 difference. And they keep our mortgage, so they are like using our mortgage basically, but they're responsible for insurance and taxes and all that stuff. And one thing that a lot of people don't understand is that in the contract you can have the clause. I don't know how to say it. Clause.
Yep, you got it.
It was right.
If they don't make payments on the mortgage, which is one payment, like if they don't pay for 30 days, you have a right to get your deed back. So
Wow.
it's not like, oh, they quit paying and you, because that's what a lot of people say, like, oh, they're going to ruin you. Well, no, it's in nobody's interest to ruin anybody here. And one thing Ziona made me feel comfortable about, she gave me an example that happened with her. And she said a person who bought her property after a year was like, I can't do this. And she just found another buyer. You can just like switch people out, just like private money lenders. Like that's one thing people don't understand about private money lending. Like they think that like you're in a deal and you must stay in a deal. But things happen to people and like they need to get out because I don't know, they get sick or something and they need the money. So guess what you do? You go find a different private money lender. So it's all in the paperwork and it's all in the contract. So it's not like, oh, let's shake hands and the deal is done. Like, no, like it's written on the paper. So in our deal, that's where we're at. We're at the 4-year balloon and they will, yeah, I'm hoping, not hoping, but like, I'll just see what happens with rates and they will, refinance in the next 2-3 years. Yeah. because
Okay.
it's only
So
been since December.
I really enjoy your experience. I mean, you did the flipping, you did the hard money, and that's like some people would perceive as risky. You did the short-term rental, then you did the creative finance. You're part of a lot of groups. So I want to kind of talk about the groups because I think all of this is not possible without you having the network and you kind of acquiring and you being resourceful and finding the right resources to kind of help you. So where are you now in kind of like your journey and what is the goal? Like where do you want to go like from here?
Yeah. So I really believe I heard this term a couple of days ago and I fell in love with it. Professional equity. Like last year, that's what I did. I invested in my professional equity by joining groups. And I really believe in joining groups sounds like a cult. No, it's just like going to school. Like you go to college, you pay for the college. Like this is pretty much the same thing, but it's just for you're getting educated on investing, you're getting educated on like how to manage your money. Like things that I've learned are to me honestly priceless. Like I've learned so okay, let's start from Amy. Like I joined Amy's program last April, but honestly, I didn't join because I wanted to raise money. No, I loved Amy. Amy is just like Omid, you met Amy. I don't know if Lenny you met Amy, but
She's awesome.
yeah, she's amazing. And I was like, there's something about her is telling me that I should like be in her, around her. And then I also like went with who you surround with, you become that. And your network is your network. So I decided last year that's my goal. I want to be surrounding myself with these people who are in this and they know what they're doing, and it will just, I'll just absorb it. And I did, because it like every month it was just giving me like a little more strength and a little more courage and a little more self-confidence to do it. So after joining her thing and being on the calls every week, hearing what people are doing, how they're structuring deals, it just gave me strength to like go do it myself. So then I joined Heather Blankenship's mastermind because I wanted to be in the circle of women who are badasses. And let me tell you, I went to a retreat there and I made some amazing friends. Like we're truly friends. Like we text all the time. We like hit each other up like with questions about real estate, about like social media, like things like that. Like we all need help. And like our friends, I have really great friends who want to listen to me, but I'm sure they're like, oh my gosh, shut up already about real estate and like stuff. And these girls, like, they will talk about it for days. Like, and then, we also talk girl stuff, like girl math and all that. And I really, truly enjoyed being part of that mastermind. Being at the retreat was really life-changing for me. So where I'm at now is I want to do some flips and I don't want flips to be my career, but then again, who knows, maybe they will. But I want to do flips just because I always wanted to do an actual flip. Like not what I did. Like I did buy, flip, and then hold. Like I want to do an actual flip. And so I joined forces with two more people from the program, from Raising Private Money program. And we're looking for properties in Dallas and Houston, and raising money for that as well. So like we want to actually use private money to like do the deals, because these deals are not like, I know for you guys who live in California, I mean, you're in California, right?
Yeah, so I'm
like,
in California, Lenny's on the East Coast. So
East Coast, maybe.
Okay, so you both are in markets that have like these insane prices. Yeah, so like you guys have like $1 million tax. Like we can do a flip, we can buy for like 150, 200, and sell it for like 450. Like easily, like you can find it. You just have to find a good deal, obviously. But that's one thing. And then raising private money, I want to show people how to get double-digit returns backed by real estate. So if you want to learn, hit me up. But one thing I will say that I learned from this group is leveraging like your IRA. Like I didn't really fully, like I knew about IRA, but I didn't really realize the power of it. And at the last Raising Private Money conference, they showed an example of if you took $100,000 and you put it in a self-directed IRA, not with those Ameritrade and companies. No, not those. you can hit me up and I'll tell you with who. And you take the 100 grand and you invest as a private money lender into deals twice a year, 2 points for each deal, and 12% annualized return. In 16 years, you will have $1.6 million in that account. And this is tax free.
Sign me up.
Yeah, I'll sign you up. But like, I didn't know about this. If I
Yeah.
haven't joined these groups, like, I wouldn't have known about this. Maybe there's
Can I
somebody out there who's like, I know. I'm like, yeah, good
I'm
for
gonna
you.
share something really quick, and like, and it all goes into investing in yourself, going
Yes.
to masterminds, going
Yes.
to events, right? So, how Omid and I met, right, is we went to an event. It was out in California, maybe about 5 years ago, and it was, I don't know, Amy, what was it, 600 to 700 people that was there, And I'm
Wow.
gonna tell you something. So the very first day I was there, you go for the networking night, and then the next day the event starts. And I was shocked because, the group of people that I surround myself with here, they are successful. I mean, like, wealthy, and they live by, you do not touch your 401k. That's not something that you mess with, right? So I'm taking notes from successful people that are
Yep.
wealthy, that understands money, right? And I go to this event in California, and I'm meeting all these people. They're like, yeah, I got 30 doors, and I got 50 doors, and I got 100 doors. And I'm saying to myself, what happened? Because, like, one, I was thinking I must be in the right place because everybody got all these doors, and I want to know how. But as I asked the questions, everybody was leveraging their 401k
Yeah.
on investing into themselves, and the point I'm making is important that you get out, because once again, I was here, had 2 or 3 people that I know. I'm talking about, go to their houses. They come to my houses, and they're successful millionaires, and they told me, you don't touch your 401k. But I get with a whole different people, and they're saying, hey, you can touch your 401k, and here's some other options you can do. And it just was miseducated. And, and I want to say miseducated. I'm just going to sit there and say, there's people who do different things. And before
Absolutely.
you sit here and listen to one person, go out and listen to a few other people, because you might find out that there's a different lane than the lane that you're
Absolutely.
running in, that you can sit here and do something. But we have a question for you really quickly. What does find your freedom mean to you?
Oh my gosh. So because I listened to your podcast, I've been like, I knew you were going to ask me this, and I've been thinking about this for like weeks. And so it literally changes on daily. But I will say one thing that is really important to me is the freedom of time. And what my definition of time is, it's not to sit on a couch and watch Netflix. Like, no. The freedom of time to me is to, whenever I feel like I want to go somewhere, and I'm very connected to my family in Serbia, like, I want to be able to just hop on a plane, preferably business class, and just go there. And like, I don't have to tell anybody, like, hey, can I take PTO? I'm going to take PTO. Like, I don't, like, I love to work. Like, I'm not one of those people. Like, I always like to stay busy. I think one tidbit I gave you when I was telling you, like, I used to make cakes, like, because I just thought it was fun. And but it takes a lot of time. See, like, no time freedom with making cakes. But with this, it's really how you structure it. And I really believe with the real estate, you can structure your business where you can live anywhere. I mean, I know so many people, like Lenny, you and I know Olivia Tati. We were
Yep.
standing there talking to her. Olivia lives wherever she wants to, and she
Yeah,
runs
she
her
does.
businesses, and she's a badass.
Yep.
Sarah Weaver, like, she travels all around the world, and
Yeah,
like
she does.
so my point is that, like, it's just how you structure it. I know wholesalers who live in like Spain. Like, they live in Spain and they wholesale in US because that's how they structured it. So
Wow.
my freedom is time, and that's what I'm trying to find. I'm trying to find, how am I going to have the time and have the income to be free to do whatever I want. And again, I have no clue what I want. So it will come to me. It will come to me. It will just appear out of nowhere. So yeah.
Yeah.
But to Lenny, what you were talking about is you can skin a cat so many ways. Like
Yes.
I don't think investing in real estate is the one way. Whatever your comfort zone is. I love real estate. I do not understand stock market, and I personally don't want to. Like, to me, it's like gambling in Las Vegas. Like, go throw some. And some people don't agree with that. I'm sorry if you hear it's storming really bad here in Houston right now.
No,
So
you're good. You're good.
okay.
Yeah, no, it's I appreciate kind of your answer, and the same thing, right? Like time, and then people may not know what they want, but I think things change over time anyways. Like your needs, your wants, but just having that flexibility where you can kind of adapt to whatever your needs are for the moment. So when you're not in Serbia and you're not in Texas, where can people find you?
So you can find me on Instagram. It's under my name, Mia Kurbalija, which is MIA and then KURBALIJA. Same on Facebook, same on LinkedIn. And then my email is my name and then 08@gmail.com.
Boom, boom, boom. Awesome. So we're coming to the end of the show. And what we like to do at this time is we like to come together and bust out some speakers. All right. So what we're going to do is we're going to do this big boom session, right? In the count of three. So I'm going to count to three, and in a uniform manner, all three of us going to say boom as long as we can. All right. So give me some thumbs up, some head bobs. Let me know that everybody's ready. All right. All right. So this is the time, audience, where you better turn your radios down. All right. So with that being said, 1, 2, 3. Boom! Awesome. Check this out. We just had a fantastic episode. And what I really love about this episode is the everyday person. We sit back and we think that we can't accomplish things, but it's so much to learn and so much to be inspired by today of being a career-driven individual. However, you still can do other things like invest into real estate to either make that your primary or just have it as some side income or use it as to help you out with taxes. I mean, it's so many different things that you can do when it comes to real estate. I just don't want you to think your career is just that one thing. So listen to this episode with open ears while you do that. And when you're listening to this episode, please, what we need is an honest 5-star review. This is how we continue to bring on guests and friends of this caliber that can share their story to encourage and inspire you to sit out and go out and become, who you really truly want to be. Also, we need you to share this. Share this with your mother, your brother, your sister, your cousin, your aunt, your uncle, all your coworkers, the ones that you like and the ones that you don't like. Now, until the next episode of Find Your Freedom, we talk to you soon. Peace.
Thanks for listening to Find Your Freedom. Be sure to subscribe wherever you listen to podcasts. While you're at it, please help us spread the word by leaving a rating and review and sharing the podcast with friends, family, and colleagues. Until next time, get out there and find your freedom.